China has hit a staggering 50% of all cars sold, which were EVs in the month of September. That's a new record. But this new record is really interesting because a lot of people believe that this is being driven by hybrids, by plug-in hybrids in China. But actually, the truth is the majority of these sales of new energy vehicles in China are actually electric cars. If we have a look at the number of batteries being deployed this year by BYD and CATL, in fact by China, the batteries that have actually been sold they have doubled. And so this shows you that actually this huge rise in EV sales this year in China are directly from EVs, not just from plug-in hybrids. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking, and the world is going through this incredible disruption. We're kind of missing it because the media are tricking us with these false advertising, false headlines. EV sales are cratering, EV sales are falling, all this kind of stuff. Not actually true. Now, guys, I will be at the EV show in Sydney, the International EV show in Sydney. I'll put a link in the description. You can get a discount on your tickets. That's the cheapest tickets you'll be able to get. Very, very cheap. In fact, it's like, to be honest, the price of lunch money. I'll be putting a presentation on there about Tony Seiber's revolution, about the convergence of technologies, the convergence of solar, wind, and batteries, and what it's actually doing. And I think we're all missing what's really happening. This exponential growth in these technologies is going to converge, and basically it's going to have a revolutionary effect on the entire planet. I'm going to reveal what I think is going to happen and what the experts are saying is going to happen. I'll put a link in the description so you can get tickets and come along to the show. My keynote speech will be free. Would love to see you there. China's monthly EV sales they've skyrocketed. It's quite staggering to see what's happening. BYD is now a bigger company worldwide than SAIC. They used to be the biggest company worldwide from China. They are no longer. So BYD continued to grow. In September, China's EV sales reached a record high, or I should say new energy vehicle sales, of nearly 1.3 million, 1,287,000. That is growth of 42.3% versus last year. Even more staggering though, that's growth of 17% from last month. Really, we're seeing China just transform at a pace that not even the Chinese government or not even BYD predicted would happen. China's NEV sales though are actually still dominated by EVs. In total, of that nearly 1.3 million, only 500,000 were plug-in hybrids. Now, plug-in hybrid sales have grown enormously, though. They have increased by 84% versus last year. EV sales have grown significantly too. EV sales are up 24% versus the same month last year. You can see this chart here from cnfpost.com, and I love the charts from these guys. They do such a fantastic job, because this highlights this staggering growth in China, and it shows you exactly what's been happening, which is a total revolution. All vehicle sales in China were a total of 2.8 million. So the Chinese car market is shrinking. It's down 1.7% versus last year. But NEV sales have grown by 43%. And what this means is that in September, the percentage of cars that were essentially electric was 46%. Now, we're not talking about Toyota's electrified nonsense here, where they include hybrids. We're talking about cars that specifically can run as an EV alone. And really, this is very significant because 67% of the world's new energy vehicle sales from January to August for the first 8 months of this year, 67% were produced in China. As you can see, China is really taking over the global EV industry, and those numbers will only increase. The countries that I believe China are targeting the most outside of China itself are places like Southeast Asia, where there is no taxes on Chinese vehicles, places like Thailand, which is actually a very large car market, Malaysia, Australia, even Japan, and the UK. Now, there's no taxes in those countries, but what we're also seeing is China targeting places like Russia and Central and South America. There's still a lot of people living in a lot of countries where there is no taxes on Chinese cars. Intriguingly, the deployment of batteries from the two biggest battery companies in the world, BYD and CATL, have also grown at about the same percentage as new energy vehicle sales have. They're up 45%. So 45% growth in battery deployments this year from Cadel and BYD shows you that actually EV sales have grown enormously. That's a massive, massive increase. If we continue to see increases of 45% per year, it's game over for internal combustion within only a few years' time. Now, what is also interesting is that Chinese car manufacturers, 3 out of every 4 cars they sell, so 75% of the cars that Chinese manufacturers make are either EVs or plug-in hybrids. 75%. China essentially owns, Chinese car manufacturers I'm talking about, they essentially own the EV and plug-in hybrid market. And we're not just talking about China here, we're talking about worldwide. Tesla is the only other car company that is really, producing EVs in large numbers. The top 10 Chinese vehicle exporters were Chery, amazing, number 1, SAIC, number 2, Geely, number 3, Chang'an, number 4, Great Wall Motors was 5th, BYD in 6th, BAIC or BAIC is in 7th, JAC in 8th, Dongfeng 9th, and Yuda Kia. So Kia is actually now making cars in China and sending them worldwide. If we look at the top 10 Chinese vehicle exporters for the entire year, coming from carnewschina.com, the top 10 are Chery, SAIC, Chang'an, Geely, Great Wall Motors, and BYD, then Tesla, followed by JAC, BAIC, and Dongfeng. So this includes legacy automakers. The top 10 Chinese vehicle exporters, as you can see, Tesla is in it's actually in 7th place. So this global EV revolution is really, really picking up the pace, but I don't think many people realize or are aware of the fact that actually Chery, SAIC, and Chang'an export, and so do Geely, export a lot more cars worldwide than BYD, which is kind of a strange phenomenon, but that might change over the next few years. I think that probably it will. However, keep in mind, Chery is a very, very big conglomerate, and we're kind of ignoring these other companies in China because we just hear about BYD, we just hear about Tesla, we hear about Geely, but not Chery. And they're doing some amazing stuff. I'll keep you informed on what's happening with these other car companies in China. So make sure you subscribe, guys. Thanks for your support. Bye-bye.